Okay, so today's topic was not that much bad. We learned a little bit about the SQL Server performance bottleneck. SQL Server performance bottleneck. As we know that one of the major responsibility of every DBA is to find out, to diagnose the slow running application or databases. So who can tell me what is the bottleneck for the performance of application, SQL Server application or databases? Just name those bottleneck issues. Okay, Hiba.
One of the issues that we can get, or some of the issues that we can get, it's database design and
Okay.
database code issues, application design, application code issues, CPU, memory, I/O, network,
Okay.
and database server configuration issues.
Server or database configuration. Okay, that's a good point. Can you say it again in your own word? What did you learn? What she said? Can you just summarize it?
For bottleneck issue, we get comes a lot of site. She told there's a lot of site. Is
Okay.
Application issues, database issues, memory issues.
Network issue.
Yeah, network issue, lot of issues.
Server configuration and database
Server
configuration.
configuration issues on site.
Okay, good point. You, brother. Can you tell me some bottleneck related to SQL Server?
Sure. Database design, code design, application design,
Okay.
code design, and CPU, I/O, memory, network, and server and database configuration.
Server and database configuration. Yes, that's a good point. Mustafa, go ahead, please.
The bottleneck that we can find in SQL Server will be like the application design,
First go for database design.
database design.
DBA. Don't go
Yes.
for application.
Yeah, database design, application design, memory issue, CPU issue, network issue,
Okay.
and configuration
Of server
server
and databases.
database.
Okay, so you guys, all of we are right. So how we can find out? Can you name some of the database design problems, some of the database coding problems? Since we are a DBA, so what are from the DBA side? How can be a database in a not properly in a good design? Who can tell me?
It can be
Okay.
duplicated index.
Mustafa.
Yes, database design can be found by from duplicated index.
Okay.
It can be
Missing index.
missing index,
Unused index.
unused index, and
No use index.
Yes.
not used index.
It means unused index.
Yes, unused index.
Unused index.
Yes, unused index.
No, some is unused, some is low use. Unused means totally not used.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Low use means minimal use.
Minimally used. Well, yeah. And
What else?
statistics also can be a bottleneck issue. I mean,
Trace is not updated like this.
Yes, when you reorganize your indexes, when you read more from a table,
from a table.
the statistics of a table can be
upgraded.
Updated.
Updated. Well,
Should
you have
be
to use,
updated.
but you have to use with upgrade when you make any changes on your index. Is that correct?
with update.
With update
With update the stats.
statistics.
Okay. What else can be database? A poor designing of database. As a DBA, how you can identify, how you can figure out that this database is not properly designed. One of them were
Okay.
indexes. Okay, Hiba.
One of the issues that we can face, it's an indexes, which is duplicate index, missing index, unused index, and also the index maintenance, which is rebuild and reorganize, and the fill factor, improper fill factor. If we don't have an improper fill factor for OLAB and OLTB,
Yes.
this is also one of the issues for indexes.
Good point.
Another thing is outdated statistics.
Mhm.
If we have an outdated statistics,
Don't
this-
explain, just name the
Okay.
Outdated
The third thing is the join.
join.
Also, if we
Okay.
have like not all the columns that mentioned on the join is not indexed, this
Okay.
is will be an issue. If we join more than 5 tables, we should consider like redesign our databases.
Okay,
This
good.
is not a good thing.
Mhm.
And also all the joined columns should be same data type.
Yes. The joining column should
Yes.
be the
Same
data
data,
type.
same data type.
The joining column should have indexes.
Yeah.
The joining tables should not be more than 5 tables.
Or should we move from half table?
Yes.
There is a limitation.
Yes. If it's you can have multiple tables you can use in
But it's
joining.
good for performance.
But the best performance, if you want to have good performance,
Mm.
not to join more than 5 tables.
More than 5 tables.
If you want to join more than 5 tables,
it's
you-
allowed but not should to do it.
Yes,
Yeah.
not a good practice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also I can say
So you mentioned indexes,
Indexes,
you mentioned
join.
statistics, you
Mhm.
mentioned joins.
Mhm.
What is the 4th point?
Memory.
Stop procedure.
No. From the database design problems.
Yeah,
How
also,
can
as
we-
he said, it's
Store procedure.
using a store procedure instead of using ad hoc queries.
ad hoc queries.
This is one of
That's
the
a technical point, yeah?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's very important point.
Do you know what's ad hoc query?
Ad hoc in randomly query.
Randomly queries.
Yeah.
Any query without any intention, any plan,
Any
any
plan.
pre-planned.
Yes.
Okay. Use ad hoc queries. Avoid ad hoc queries and instead use
Use
store
store
procedures.
Procedure.
Yeah.
Inside the store procedure, what should be run?
You say avoid ad hoc queries but use store procedure.
Use a store procedure.
Set no count on. This is one of the options that we have to
Do not
consider
use
on.
functions,
Function.
system functions, user-defined functions inside your store procedures. Inside the store procedures. Inside your queries, I mean.
Oh yeah,
Inside-
avoid using conversion, use system or user defined in where clause.
And where class, yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it?
When you create a query, we are not focusing now on ad hoc query. We know that a good practice to have always a store procedure. When you have multiple time, when you often use a query, it means you must create a store procedure for that query. When you use a query, that query should not have functions included.
Like a function in
Like system function?
filtering. No.
Like user-defined function
User defined function.
or system function. So you know what is function, what are the system and user-defined function.
We can talk about it later.
And where class, the point is you avoid using functions
In where clause.
and where class in your queries.
Okay.
And where class. You can use functions, but in single in
Well, not together.
but not in where class.
That will work close.
If you want to have a high performance, so avoid this using function in where class.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember one more thing. It's
Mhm.
like avoid using cursor.
Okay.
Yeah. This is
delete.
one of
Use
the
alternative.
use
Yeah.
alternative.
Use alternative.
Yeah, like
If this is what's
table,
alternative of cursor? Temp table,
Yeah.
table variable,
CTA.
CT,
CT.
derived table. These are the alternatives of cursor.
Mhm.
If you don't know cursor, doesn't matter. Just know the alternative of cursor. Okay. Set
And
no count.
set no count.
Set no count on.
Mhm.
Inside your store procedure.
Inside your store procedures.
No, set not count is count. Alright.
Set
Meaning
no
Set no
count
count meaning
It
is
means,
count.
it means do not count. It means no count.
Set no count on.
On.
That means
Set not
no
count on is count.
It means
Set count
off.
on is
It
count,
means
not count.
no count. Yes,
Yeah.
no count.
No count.
Set no
Accurate.
count on.
Is not is
On.
is count.
It means no count.
No count.
No count.
It's
Set no
no
count
count
is
on.
on.
That means
That
Meaning
means
is-
no count.
No count.
No count or count.
No
First of
count.
all, come to this point. Set no count. What does it mean? It means set no count.
Don't
no,
count it.
No count. Off.
No count.
it means count.
Yeah.
When you say off,
Yeah. That means.
it means count.
Yeah.
It's like opposite.
The opposite.
Little bit tricky.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you say set no count on, it means no count. No count on. No count on. Okay, what else?
Avoid delete. Delete big.
Apply soft delete.
Delete.
Soft delete. yes.
Apply soft
Soft
delete.
delete.
If there is hard delete, it means
Deleting
a
patches.
bunch of
Batches.
a bunch of queries are running together. It means more pressure on TimeDB, on CPU, on I/O. Try to use small queries. Yes,
Yes.
a batch of queries.
Batch of queries.
Create your batch, small batches of queries. Okay, that was a good practice. What other? So we are now good. That one of the major problem of running a SQL server or a database problems can be a poor database design. A poor database design can be these issues like indexes, statistics, joins, store procedures, functions, set no count, running a bunch of queries together. These were the one of the poor database design. Another one is we are not touching the application design now. At all the way down, we will go for application because we are not the application side. So we are the DBAs. We should focus on database design, database performance, all the native tools, whatever we have the access. The second point, what are the other points that can be a database running slow, an application running slow in our environment?
An application.
Yes, you mentioned the database design, poor database design. What others? Like memory, CPU, I/O. Memory, CPU, I/O. What is the CPU pressure? What can be a CPU pressure? Okay.
CPU pressure. CPU, it can have a contention.
Okay.
But we can identify that by checking some counters.
Mm-hmm.
One of the counters is signal weight, and if the signal weight is more than 25% of the total weight,
Okay.
that means indication of a CPU pressure.
Okay, that's a good point.
And how to find the signal weight?
Mm-hmm.
By using the DMV, DM,
OS.
OS weight stats.
Yes, good
Yeah.
point. DM weight stats. DM OS weight stat.
Yeah.
OS
Yeah.
operating system means DM OS weight stats.
Most of the CPU DMVs, it's OS.
OS.
Yeah.
OS.
This
That's
is
a good
from
Operating
indicator.
system.
Yeah.
It's a good indicator if you want to know about your system resources. Use sysdm OS.
Oh, yes.
Sysdm OS.
Weight
Then
stats.
weight stats, then anything. A scheduler.
Schedulers. Yeah.
Schedules.
Okay. Can you tell me how can be she mentioned CPU. How can be an I/O issue or disk I/O issue?
A disk a disk issue will be an I/O life life expense
Oh.
no
This is
life
That's
page
memory.
expen-
That's memory.
no
That's memory.
that's memory
Page life
page
remem-
life expensive
depends on memory.
it's memory
Yeah. Disk I/O, average read, average write. I/O,
average read,
I/O,
average write.
it means input.
Mhm.
O
Yeah,
means
output.
output. N,
Going in, going out.
yes.
Yeah.
So I/O latch
Average page read, average page write,
right
and the normal is 4 to 8
4 to 4
millisecond
millisecond.
to read and write.
If
the
it's more than
normal.
15
But
millisecond.
nowadays, if it is even more than 25 millisecond, that's good.
No.
no
If it's above
It's
25
right.
milliseconds, that's an
That's-
indication
that's
of
an
indicator.
indication
disk.
of
Issue.
of disk I/O issue
If it's
bottleneck.
less, it's okay.
If it is more than 25 25 millisecond, 25 millisecond, it means we don't have the optimal disk I/O performance. The optimal disk I/O performance. Don't go for the bucket. Just know your own words, whatever you can. So how you can find out the disk I/O issue? What indicators you check?
Say it again.
The average read and write.
Average read and write of
Between 5 and
If
between
it
4 and
is
8.
the average read and write, if it is,
above 25, that mean
it's a high pressure.
high pressure.
It doesn't give us the optimal result. The
optimal
good
results.
How do we find this average disk second read, average disk second write?
By a DMV,
We can have multiple
you
ways.
can make multiple ways by
Yes.
counters,
You can run a DMV code.
DMV code.
Yes. You can run through the SQL Server Task Manager,
Task manager you have to find.
Windows Server,
Windows Task
Windows
Manager.
Task Manager.
Performance
No.
monitor.
No, performance monitor.
Performance
It's
monitor.
not Task
Do-
Manager.
Yeah,
Performance monitor.
performance monitor.
Yeah.
Because we can use a wait start to count.
Wait start is gonna be.
I'm not sure which DMV, but I know it's through Performance Monitor.
So only for
I
the
did it, I did
for
that.
the disk I/O issue, you can run some DMV codes. You
What
can
is
run
it?
extended events.
Extended event.
Extended events. I don't think so. Extended event only based on the
No.
SN for Windows too.
for SQL Server tools, but for the
Yeah, sorry, everywhere.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just
Run-
Performance Monitor, 100% sure.
Yeah, performance monitor is number.
Yeah.
Performance monitor too.
We have to know the DMV too. He's right.
we run some DMV codes. Yes. Then we run the SQL Windows Server Performance Monitor, and add those counters, and find out the result.
We can use these tools until 14, but 16 there the queries too. We can do the all performance monitoring and solve with the queries too.
With the query store.
Queries too. It's so easy right now. You don't use the DMB, you use any DVCC code, nothing else. Just query store has done everything.
But still, sometimes you need to know.
Yeah, we have. You know, right now, if you use the SQL Server 2016, you have to master the query store. It's a big issue, query store.
Okay, your break time is getting finished. If you're going
You
so
don't
deep,
get the break, so
if you're going so deep, your break time is getting finished. So, what other problem can you face when you have some bottleneck in application and databases? Like she mentioned CPU. He mentioned disk I/O, memory. Memory can be an issue.
CPU is down, memory is down.
Memory is not done.
Memory is not
Memory was not asked.
Line memory
We just
should be
skipped one memory and we went through the
Okay, so the
discuss.
insufficient memory.
How you find out that the SQL Server is causing a memory is
Memory
causing the
causing.
slow running of your SQL application.
Yeah. So we can say the insufficient memory is there on
Insufficient memory can
Yeah.
be, or
a page
if the
Mm-hmm.
page life
life
expectancy
expectancy
is less than
is
less than
less
300 millisecond
Oh, 1,000.
or 1000.
We should say 1,000.
If the page life expectancy is less than 1000 millisecond or less than 5 minutes, it is an indicator of memory issue, memory bottleneck. Yeah, that's it. What can be a memory issue in as a SQL DB? How you identify it? We run performance monitor, some DMV codes. We find out the percentage of page life expectancy. If it is less than 1000 millisecond or less than 5 minutes, it means we have an issue with the memory. It's not giving us optimal performance. So what can be an application design problem? We
Even
didn't
design problem. Poor
Yeah,
design is
yeah.
very irregular answer. Poor design.
Yeah.
And
If
In
we
my
check-
environment, this is a developer job, so.
Okay. When we checked all the
Yeah.
DB side, like
Yes.
database design, CPU, memory,
I/O.
CPU, memory, disk, IO. When you say IO, add disk also.
Yeah.
Disk, it means all the thing is
Disk,
stored in
Related,
disk.
yeah.
Disk,
Input out.
yes.
Input out.
SQL Server configuration or database configuration. If everything is good on our side, you just need to report that the application is designed poorly. There is a poor design in application. Okay, thank you so much, guys. It was nice talking. Hope it helped.